What's it like? What's it like being back at Auburn?
Oh man, it's like a dream come true. We had such a great time the first time we were here at Auburn, and it's just a great place to live. It's a great place to be a part of. What a great university! What a great football tradition, sports traditions, man. So just very excited to be back.
Just what has, kind of that first, I guess, introduction back period kind of been like for you getting reacclimated and everything like that?
There's a lot of things that you remember, and there's a lot of things that's still the same. But you can tell how much the town's changed. You can tell how much, obviously, facilities and things are different. And but the thing that I do still see, and just been around a little bit, is still those same type of guys that are on our football team. Those guys that really like to go to work and love football and just love to compete. So there are a lot of things different, but man, there's a lot of things the same, and it's truly exciting.
I guess just like when this opportunity came about, I mean, was it something that like just kind of came out of the blue? Or I guess how did this kind of come to be, and when it first sort of got offered up, I mean, what were your initial thoughts heading into this?
Obviously coaching is it's volatile, right? It's different, and you never know what's going to go down, what's going to happen. And I had spent the last 3 years at Florida Atlantic and enjoyed my time there. Things changed, and got the opportunity to be the interim head coach for the last 2 games down there, and we actually finished on a high note. Got a big win at the end of the season, and it was great for those seniors to be able to send them off. But when the new coach got the job there at Florida Atlantic, he already had in mind what he was going to do as a staff and that type of thing. So obviously it was one of those things where at that point we knew we were going to move, we just didn't know where. But I always feel like I try to be a man of faith. I try to be, a believer and understand that God's going to put you where He wants you. And having the opportunity, having a connection with Coach Rock. We had worked together at FAU, and then being able for him to connect me with Coach Freeze and just have an opportunity to talk about the special teams position. It ended up working out, and obviously very thankful to Coach Freeze for this opportunity, and very thankful for God for this opportunity as well.
I feel like you don't often see when a coaching staff gets disbanded for whatever reason that whether it's a couple or multiple guys go on to a new staff together. But what has this process been like of reacclimating with Rock alongside you as another guy who's reacclimating?
Yeah, for sure. And Coach Rock and I had grown close over the last 2 years. We got the opportunity to work together at Florida Atlantic. And obviously everybody, both of us having the opportunity to be at Auburn before, we'd obviously had shared Auburn stories and things like that. But Rock's become a really good friend of mine. But I will say this, at Florida Atlantic, not only was he a good friend, he was a really good football coach, and he did a really good job with the players. And so when he obviously got the job here at Auburn, was very excited and happy for him because, he landed on his feet and he landed at a great place. Obviously we started sharing Auburn stories again. And when this opportunity came up, and I came back, it was good to have that familiarity of working with Rock before, but also to get an opportunity to meet all the new coaches that are, that I hadn't worked with, and, try to form those relationships as well. And one thing I'll say about it is there is a great vibe on this staff. I mean, everybody pulls in the same direction, and everybody's trying to make sure that they do a great job for Auburn.
Chad, just talk about the group you've inherited. Obviously, the Alex and Towns and bringing a new punter in Hudson, but just kind of talk about the group overall that you've kind of been able to work with so far this spring.
Very excited about the group. The first thing that I said to them was, hey, look, I'm new. I'm going to watch your film from the past. I'm going to watch what you did in high school. I'm going to watch maybe what you did in college. But the true evaluation and the true figuring out what we're going to do is going to come during the spring. And what I've been very excited about is just their mindset to really go to work. And, I think they're becoming a close group. I think that's something that's very important, trying to build that camaraderie and make sure that you're, obviously you're going to compete against one another, but also too, we're a team. And, and from the time I've got here at the end of January till now, we spent a lot of time trying to get to know each other as people and not just players. And I thought they've really done a good job of buying into that. Now, I think we have a talented room too. Watching these guys kick, watching these guys punt, watching these guys snap, I think there's talent there. I think there's little details and things that we got to work on to make sure that we can be elite in what we do. But they've got the right mindset right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
With the
You're
guy,
part of 2 SEC championships and national championship here. This place can be. Is that a perspective that you can share with the other coaches, some of the new coaches on the staff?
I mean, obviously, anytime that you bring coaches in that have won in situations, you always be able, you want to be able to lend to whatever you can do. But I'm just here to be a small part. These coaches, being around them, obviously I've known Rock for a while, but not knowing these guys an awful lot, knowing of them, but not ever working with them. They're first class all the way, and I'm glad just to be a part of them. I'm learning a lot from them as well, and I just want to get in where I fit in and help where I can help.
with the kicker specifically, what does that competition kind of look like right now going into the spring?
Well, what's interesting is right now we've got 5 kickers on the roster, so we got to get creative this spring to get them in situations where they're getting live kicks. They're getting in pressure kicks. It's one thing to go out there and work and just kick, but it's another thing to be able to do it and feel pressure. So I think we got to get really creative in that. Been very impressed with Alex. He, obviously he's had the issues that he's had, but it looks like things are trending in the right direction for him, and he's been able to kick. He's really shown a lot of talent. I really like the leg strength of Towns. I think Towns can really hit that ball. He obviously showed that on kickoffs last year, and then just watching him kick field goals this year, I think he does have a lot of talent. Obviously, we know the issues, and we know we got to make sure that we put him in situations of pressure to see if he can be successful there. And then the other guys, Connor, Ian, and Charlie, those are guys that I'm continuing to learn. But again, I think they've got good talent, and I think they'll have an opportunity to compete against those 2 guys.
In the return game, is there, it's still really early right now, but is there kind of a handful of guys that you guys are looking at, and who are some of the names that, are going to be evaluating there in the spring?
Yeah, I don't want to discount anybody, obviously, because there's still a lot to learn about that. And again, I think a lot like kickers and punters, I mean, you got to put them in pressure situations and see how they handle that. But the 2 guys that's really stood out is Malcolm and then Singleton. Those guys have looked really natural. Another guy that really is sure-handed, does a great job is Will Upton. We've thrown him back there as well. Looking a little bit at Bryce Kane as well. So I think there's some guys, but have been very pleased with Malcolm and Singleton as we move forward.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.